We are outside the Bernabeu and we have a very special guest with us. This is Sid outside the Bernabeu with Sid Lowe. It's great having you on Let's Be Real.
Does that make us Sid squared, or what does it make us?
Two Sids.
Two Sids, Sid square, I don't know, but it's a very surreal moment for me. I am literally very nervous, but we are very glad to have you, sir.
Very much appreciated.
A 5-0 performance.
Yeah.
What was that performance like by Real Madrid?
I think it was a performance of a team that knows the league is done, that knows it's playing against a team that they can beat, that knows it's preparing for a Champions League final, so there's a degree of motivation, and it really and truly just wanted to enjoy it. I don't think this was a game to analyse from a competitive point of view. I think it's a game to analyse from the point of view of a team that was just there to have fun, and 4 or 5 players on the pitch I thought played brilliantly tonight, but played brilliantly, as I say, in that context of, right, this is for enjoyment's sake.
Definitely. And the goals kept coming in. Vinny Jr., Jude Bellingham, what a debut season is he having. Did you expect him to have that kind of an impact? Personally, when I saw him coming, I knew his ability to play at multiple positions and even excel at that. But Carlo Ancelotti kind of, unleashed a goal scorer in him.
Yeah.
What kind of a debut season has that been in the history of Real Madrid?
I mean, genuinely, if you ask it in terms of the history, I find it difficult to think of a debut season here that's had this kind of impact. Cristiano Ronaldo obviously had a fantastic debut season, but actually didn't win anything at the end of it. And Bellingham has won the league and may well win the European Cup as well. I think you can look at the first season of Hugo Sanchez, for example, which was extraordinary. You go back to the original Galacticos, Figo won the league, Zidane won the European Cup. But I'm not sure that the sense of impact was quite as intense as this year. And part of it is because of what you're saying. We knew Jude Bellingham was a good player. What we didn't know was that he was going to be so dominant and so decisive. We're talking about the guy that scores in the 94th minute against Barcelona and then in the 95th minute against Barcelona in the 2 Clásicos. We're talking about a guy that still might win the Pichichi Award. We're talking about someone who we didn't see as a goal scorer, who has been that goal scorer. Now you're talking about Ancelotti kind of releasing this player. Obviously, there's a reason for that, and the reason for that is because he had no forwards. Well, he did. He had Joselu, but Karim Benzema had gone, so he had to reorganise the team, and he found in Bellingham a player who, when he watched him at Dortmund, didn't play up front all the time, but had moments when he got into the area. And I think what he's seen is the opportunity to create a new type of player, and it's been a huge success.
Definitely. Probably a candidate for the Ballon d'Or.
Yes.
And even in the big games against Bayern and City, what lacked was a goal, but as a midfielder, if you didn't think that he could score these many goals, he had a great game.
Yeah, no. I mean, I think that's the problem. I think the problem that Bellingham has, in a way, is that he scored so many goals early on that we're now all waiting for him to score goals, and it's not really his role. It's not really what we should be asking him to do. And I think you're right. I think away at City, it's his touch that leads to the goal, and that was really, really important. I thought the amount of work that he did against Bayern Munich was extraordinary in the second leg, and it's true that the goals have slowed down, but they were always going to slow down because this isn't what he's here for. And you mentioned the Ballon d'Or. There's 3 or 4 moments tonight when the Bernabeu starts chanting Vinicius Ballon d'Oro. Yeah. And I was sitting there thinking, Vinicius, well, in fact, my son said to me, well, what about Bellingham? So,
I also agree with your son.
What about Bellingham, and what about Toni Kroos? And it's extraordinary to look at this team and think, genuinely, I think there are 3 genuine candidates for the Ballon d'Or this year. Now, I do think, for what it's worth, that the European Championships will decide it more than just what happens here. So I think, imagine Germany have a great European Championships, then Toni Kroos, of course, becomes an even stronger candidate. Imagine England win the European Championships, and obviously, God willing, England will win the European Championships, then maybe Bellingham or Harry Kane perhaps become really strong candidates. Vinicius is playing the Copa America, which is important, but never has quite the same weight that the European Championships does. But, you're talking about a team here that has 3 of probably the top 5 candidates, with those 3, I would say, plus Kane and plus Mbappe. And by the way, next year, Mbappe is going to be here as well.
Spoiler alert.
It's ridiculous.
All-star team in the making. So I want to talk about a player who scored today a brilliant goal, Fede Valverde. He didn't have his goal-scoring boots this season. I blame because Carlo Ancelotti kind of tore his degree of coaching because of that. There was a joke last season that, he said. But this season, I think he has been one of the most important players. I think he's played every game until the semi-final before he got some rest. People don't rate players like Fede Valverde enough just because they don't have the limelight like a Vinny, Jude or a Kroos. Kroos also, I would say, put in that category. What a special player is he?
Yeah, and I think what's happened this year with Fede, which makes him different to last year, is his position on the pitch. So we've seen this year that one of the things that Real Madrid have done, I think, to reorganise is to create a midfield where you have two deep midfielders. So you have Toni Kroos with one other, and that one other is usually Fede Valverde. What does that mean? It means we don't get the Fede Valverde that goes up and down the right wing like last year, and so that means fewer goals. It means fewer assists. Although actually his assist total is pretty high. I think it's 7 in the league and 11 overall in all competitions, and maybe 8 actually after tonight. I'm not sure. And his numbers in terms of those headline things aren't as good as last year, but I think his performance has been huge. And I actually think Carlo Ancelotti said it best. There was a press conference around about a month ago when Ancelotti said, I would like Fede to be more selfish because he does so much work for everyone else that maybe we don't talk about him enough.
Definitely. Okay, we kind of see it in the results as well. Sometimes just let the other players take limelight. Moving on from Fede to another player, the very fact that Arda Guler, special talent, was injured at the start of the season. 4 goals now, and whenever he plays, he scores. What do you want to mention about his potential?
What I should say really is, in truth, I don't know how high his level is because I've not seen enough of him in Turkey, but what we've seen of him here has been really impressive. It's taken a long time for him to get these opportunities, but he's taken all of them. I do think we have to be careful because I think the context of the goals that he scored recently has been the context of a team that's already got the League One, in games maybe without the tension, and I think we have to be careful not to start projecting onto him a future that's even greater than it is, but there's no doubt that there's a really talented player there. My question, I suppose, would be where exactly does he fit in the lineup, because he's not really a forward, he's not entirely a midfielder, he's that kind of floating sort of number 10 media punta, and I think finding a role for him might be quite difficult, but I think there's no doubt that he's got time on his side and he's certainly got talent on his side.
Yeah, I agree with you. He's more like that Ozil, Mata, that's position. Yeah. But I think a coach like Carlo Ancelotti always finds a way. He did it with Jude this time. Do you think this is Carlo Ancelotti's best coached league season in a way? He's won it in 2003 with AC Milan, 9-10 with Chelsea, with Real Madrid before, even PSG and Bayern. But like the injuries he had, the challenges, Courtois getting injured, Alaba, Militao, is that one of his best seasons as a coach?
I think it is his best, and I think if you listen to him last week, after Real Madrid had won the league and before they went to the celebrations and after they got through the Champions League semi-final, you listen to him saying nobody expected this season. Right now, this feels obvious to us because Real Madrid have been so dominant that watching them tonight, watching them win 5-0, watching them win the league early, it seems natural now. Go back to what we thought in August, and we didn't think this. Exactly. In August, Karim Benzema has gone, Eder Militao has got injured, and Thibaut Courtois is out. You do not expect this kind of season. We don't know what we're going to get from Jude Bellingham yet. We all know he's a good player, but we don't know what we're going to get. And so I think in terms of the coaching, in terms of the inventing solutions, I think that's the big thing with Carlo Ancelotti. He quietly gets on with finding solutions, and I think I would agree with you. I think this is his best season.
Okay, definitely. I won't keep you for long. You've always given us a lot of precious time of yours. Are Real Madrid favourites for the game against Dortmund in the Champions League final?
Yes, 100%. I find it impossible, and I genuinely mean this, impossible to imagine Real Madrid not winning. Now, obviously, look, it's football. Weird things happen in football all the time, but Real Madrid don't lose European Cup finals. They haven't done since 1981. It just doesn't happen. And they are significantly stronger than Dortmund are, much stronger, and so to be honest, I think Real Madrid will be European champions for a 15th time.
That's what we hope as well. This was Siddharth Mishra with Sid Lowe. Just the best fan cam of my life. I'm just still shaking. Thank you so much again for your valuable time, and thank you to your son Charlie for waiting. Thank you so much.
It's past his bedtime, so we better get him home.
Oh, so sorry, but I hope you enjoyed the game.
Did. Thank you very much.
Thank you.